Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my studio. I want to show you how to make this fun little project today. It's called I Love Horses. Check out this wonderful stencil that we have here. Now, who doesn't love horses? Every little girl loves horses. This would be a great gift. You know, holidays are coming up not too far away. You know, you gotta start building those things now. This would be a wonderful gift idea. Now, you could substitute anything here. A soccer ball, a kitten, a dog, an ice cream cone, you know, whatever your little sweetie loves. You could change this out and do that. We did the horse because my little sweeties love horses.
I'm obsessed with them since I was born.
Yes. So Nikki has been obsessed with horses since she was born. That's accurate. I kept all of her Dear Santa letters. Every one. Bring me a horse. Bring me a horse. Matter of fact, she wrote in glass to me one time, I love horses, buy me one. So she eventually got a horse. Now she has 3, which is why we're going to make this I Love Horses. So her little girl also loves horses, and she will probably be the recipient of this wonderful little gift. All right, so what you do, you'll be able to get this pattern on my website for free, and then you make your own stencil. What you do is you take the pattern, you glue print it, glue the paper to a piece of stiff material. This is either poster board, cardstock, or in this case, it's a file folder, because I happen to have that around and they're cheap, inexpensive, and they're handy. So you glue the paper to the stiff material, then use a really sharp X-Acto knife and cut out the stencil. When you're cutting the stencil, you want that knife to be really sharp, otherwise it's going to drag on that paper and create a fuzzy line. You want a really crisp line. If you make a mistake and go a little too far into the paper or a little under the paper, that's okay. Keep going. It's more important that the line be nice and crisp and sharp than it is that the size be exactly accurate. So if your heart's a little bigger than this one, fine. If the letter's a little bigger, fine. This one you could use, a razor blade on. These you'd want to use an X-Acto knife. You can do those curves really easily. Then Nikki picked out some colors. We have this pretty blue for the base color, the bottom layer. And then this kind of looks like sky a little bit. Look at that pretty one with the movement there. It's got purples and blue and white. Which side do you like better? This side? Mm-hmm. Okay, she likes this side. And is this the top?
Yes.
You know where that blue is? Okay. I'm going to turn this around, put it here. Now we don't need that second piece of glass under there at the moment, so we'll put it there just to simplify things. We'll take our stencil, put it on here. The stencil, it just fits right there. We center it in the pattern. Now look, I had this stored in a folder in a drawer, and it's got a little bump to it. So I'm going to take this spare piece of glass and put it on top to make sure that stays nice and flat. And I'll put one over here too to make sure it's flat. Now you could also put a little bit of tape on there if you wanted to. I'm going to double check that that's nice and even. But I think that solves the problem pretty nicely right there. Now, if you you could use a store-bought stencil if you want to. If you don't want to go through the effort of doing this, you could probably get an eye, a heart, and a horse very easily. Just make your own, construction there. You could do that. Or again, you could substitute that heart, the horse shape, with anything else. So in addition to that, I have a big sifter, a small sifter, a spoon, a paintbrush for little cleanup. I have 3 different colors of powder frit. I have plum opal. We're going to use that for
the
eye. We have a beautiful cherry red for the heart, and we have a chocolate white for the horse. So I'm going to put on my dust mask here. That's important to protect yourself and stay safe. Now I'm going to use the small one here for the eye. And I'm actually wondering if maybe I should do the heart first, because it's in the middle, and I'm going to use the bigger one on it, and that way I don't have to worry about anything getting on the eye, on the letter I. So the heart is going to be red. I've got a bunch of red frit in there. I'll go ahead and sift that on. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Get nice even coverage. Here we go. I'll go ahead and just dump that. Ooh, there we are. Okay, I'm going to work kind of carefully here. Let's move this over here. There we go. Now we use a smaller one for the eye so I don't get any material on the heart. The heart eye is going to be plum opal. I'm not sure which works best, shaking or tapping. It really depends on the humidity and the consistency of your frit. And just for fun, I'm going to put a little purple on the heart. Ooh, look at that. A little bit there and a little bit there. See, that gives it a little bit of a shadow, which might be kind of fun. All right, now we're going to do the horse. So we use the bigger sifter here. We're going to do this chocolate white because the horse is a lot more surface area. But before I do that, I'm going to take this piece of shelf paper. I'm going to cover the heart so I don't get any of this color on it. Oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, that's great. This stuff is coming out really nicely. Oh, I love that. I'll put that back in the jar. And just for fun, I'm going to put a little bit of plum opal on that for a little shading. Kind of under the horse, a little bit on the mane, a little bit on the tail. Just so it's not a single color. Just give it some fun. Make sure I put that back in the right jar because that is not great if you don't. Now we're going to lift this up and dump it. Lift this and dump it. I'm building on a piece of white paper here because, ooh, look at that shifted. It's easier to clean up. I can just roll this paper up and throw it away. And don't have to worry about brushing off the table. All right, I had a little mess up here on the legs. This is where the paintbrush comes in handy. Clean that off here, bring this material back over by the leg. Okay, I got a little mess up here by the tail. That's all right. So having a little bit of a pointy brush in the studio at this point is kind of handy. Ooh, look, I've got a little detail over here that's going on that we don't necessarily want. So what do? We can leave it and say it's a highlight. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Oh, we got a highlight over here too. Yeah, you know, I'm not even going to mess with this. So the cool thing is, if this comes out of the kiln and it's not enough color, we can do it again and fire it again, add more color. So that might be where we go with this one. All right, so now I'm going to take this. All right, well, let me ask Nikki, do you like the highlight or you want me to try to mush that in there?
Let's see what happens.
All right, well, we're going to see what happens. I like that attitude. Woo! Okay, we're going to take this and put it on top of this blue piece. So now we have 2 complete layers of glass, and we're going to fire this in the kiln to a full fuse temperature. Now, when I work on a project like this with frit, I like to have my kiln ready, open, and ready to accept this project immediately after the frit has been applied, because at this point the frit is very fragile. It can get bumped, it can get blown off, it can get, somebody come in the studio and say, hey, what's that? It happens all the time. A bug could come in here and walk across it. That happens more often than you'd think. And so I want to just get it in that kiln where it's safe. Now, a lot of people say, well, do you glue it down? No. Is it going to fall off? No. If you tip it, yes. Don't tip it, okay? You could spray hairspray on it. Some people do that, but when you do that, you're only coating the top layer. You're not really getting in contact with the glass. So you're really not doing anything except taking another step and potentially blowing the frit away with the hairspray. So don't. Just put it in the kiln like this and we'll call it done. So we're going to fire this to a full fuse temperature and then we'll see what we have. Hi, welcome back to the studio. I want to share with you this project, how it looks coming out of the kiln. This is the I Love Horses project, and isn't this come out really cool? So we've got this beautiful kind of medium blue on the back. Then we put a wispy blue, lavender, white combination glass on top. I like to do that where I have a color on the back and a different color on the front because it gives it what I call a peekaboo effect. When you look at this project from the back, you're like, oh wow, look, it's blue, instead of just plain white or clear. And then from the front, you get this wonderful variation with this glass that has kind of a wispy look to it. So we put the stencil on here. We used different colors for each of them. This one we did kind of a gradient. We had, let's talk about this one first. This one we used like a plum opal purple. And we kind of stenciled it. Now, when I'm doing stencils like this, I'm using powder material. I'm using high contrast colors, and I generally will use opal because it shows up better. Opal will show up pretty much on almost every color you put it on. If you use a transparent color, like say we have this purpley blue and we used a transparent yellow on top, you'd probably end up with some sort of green. And that's okay if that's what you want. That's okay if you only have transparent yellow, but you'll get better contrast, better definition in your design if you use opal and high contrast colors compared to the background color. Here on the heart, we did kind of a red color and a couple other different shades, and we did some gradients where there's a little deeper color here and here to make it a little more 3D, a little more interesting. And then here we did the horse in a brown, white, clear combination. Again, all powder applied with a sifter. Now, when I was doing this, I bumped the stencil, taking it off, and I ended up with this little line right here. And we decided to leave it. But the lesson here is, if you don't like the way the frit looks before you put it in the kiln, redo it, because this is what you're going to get. Now, I don't mind that. Also, I got a little bit of shadowing here. That's from the stencil moving also. So you want to be real careful when you pick that stencil up. Something you could do on a large stencil like this is make little tabs out of tape. Make little like U-shaped tabs, or have your stencil have tabs come out the side, or slightly larger than your glass so you can get your fingers underneath it to pick it up. But on something this long, it tends to sag, and it pretty frequently you'll end up with that overflow of frit. So another option would be to do 3 individual stencils. Then you have less worry about the stencil, the frit overflowing or seeping underneath that paper. And don't forget, you can substitute this for anything you want. You can substitute it for chickens. You can substitute it for someone's name, initials. You could substitute it for a horseshoe. You could substitute it for, a shamrock.
Dog.
A dog, thank you, a cat. Anything you want, a lizard, a frog, whatever you wanted to, a prince. If you kiss a frog, it becomes a prince. Maybe that's what you want to put there. But anyway, you can substitute this for anything. Just go online, find a graphic, and add that to your stencil, and there you go. Stencil's going to be available to you for free on my website. So go there, check it out, download it. It's got the stencil, the size, and it also has a color image of this piece of art. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for joining us in the studio today. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this project, and I hope you try something similar for yourself. Really a lot of fun, great, simple, quick and easy way to add design, detail, and intricate design and detail to your art really quickly. And just keep in mind, pay attention to that stencil, whether it moves, be real, tight with your, clean and tight with your assembly. Also, when I put frit with a stencil on glass, after it's made, I put it right in the kiln and close the lid, even if I'm not firing it right away. Because it's so easy for somebody to come in and say, oh, what's that? Or a bug to walk across it, or something to fall over on it, or the wind to blow. All those things could disrupt your design. You'd have to redo it. So when I'm doing something with powder frit on a stencil, I have my kiln open, ready, the shelf ready to go. As soon as that frit is on there, I go ahead and load it in the kiln. So that prevents it from getting disrupted or damaged before it gets fired. So again, thanks so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed learning how to make this project. Hope you get to make one soon. And until next time, before next time, become a premium video member. We'd love to have you. Gosh, it's still hot here, so we're still having to think past the heat. So become a premium video member. We have tons of courses, full-length vegetables, full-length video instruction. Some of the projects may have vegetables in them. Their diet, because there's no calories. All right, this is just getting weird. So let me just finish and say, become a premium video member. We'd love to have you. Until next time, happy fusing.